Well, today's little challenge is a Ford Focus. It has a passenger side output shaft seal leaking, so I have to replace that. First thing you have to do is remove this cover from underneath. Not too bad, just a few little screws. And we all like a good few little screws. Now the next thing, excuse me one second whilst I get a light here. There we go. It looks kind of splattery here. I have sprayed PB Blaster on every nut. The brake pipe there has to be undone. The upright here, this piece here has to be undone. The main CV axle nut has to be undone. The tie rod end has to be undone, and the sway bar link has to be undone. Now you could probably get away with some of these not being taken off, but I like to make life easier. And also one other one that does have to be undone will probably be the lower ball joint. I may get away with that one. Sometimes when you take the top one off, you can swing it out far enough that you can push this shaft out. So that will have to be, well, we'll see. Obviously the brake caliper has to come off and tied up, and what I tend to do is I tend to tie it up to the shock because that's not going anywhere and it keeps it out of the way. So next thing is to start taking these all off. I'm just allowing it to soak for a while and let that PB Blaster get in there. I know a lot of people use WD-40. That's a great lubricant. I don't find it brilliant as a penetrator. It's okay, but PB Blaster, I have yet to have it fail on me. Of course, now that I've said that, I'll have problems, but PB Blaster I think is one of the better penetrating fluids, oils, whatever you want to call it. Alright, now let's start undoing things. Alright, first thing I like to do is make sure I can get this axle nut off. Quite often they are an absolute pig to get off. Unfortunately I do have a compressor and an air gun. The socket I've found that fits best on this is 1.25". I believe a 31mm might be also the same. I put a 32 on there and it was way too loose. So this is my 1.25". Well, how about that? Bit of steam there. Yeah, that's quite a warm nut. We like warm nuts. Alright, I'm going to shoot some PB Blaster down there and let that soak in for a little while, and whilst that's going on we'll get this caliper off. Alright, grabbing your trusty screwdriver. A lot of people have difficulty with these clips. I don't know why. Probably because they're not quite sure about the best way to get them out. Let me show you. You just put the screwdriver in here, give it a twist. Done. Simple as that. But a lot of people do have problems with that. Now, grabbing one's trusty piece of rope, slip that round the spring. I know some of you like to use the bungee cords. I like the rope, it's more adjustable. Next thing to do is to get these little caps off here. Just grab your screwdriver and give it a little push, and out it comes. Same on the bottom. This one I just do by feel, and again out it comes. Now the next thing to do is to squeeze the piston. I like this kind of clamp because it works very quickly. What this does is it makes it very easy to get the caliper off. You don't have to go far, just squeeze it in a bit. Make sure you've got some room, there you go, and back it off. And with a 7mm That's it, crack that one. The bottom one again. I tend to do it by feel, it's just easier. And I crack them both before I try and undo them. Why? Because if you undo one completely, then when you go to undo the other one, the caliper swings. And it's a real pain in the bum. So, there we go, come on. And something I do, which sometimes up to you guys, whilst I'm doing work on a vehicle, I'll just look around whilst I'm working, in case I see something that's failing, and try and let the customer know. Of course, quite often they think you're just doing it to drum up business, and whilst it is always nice to have business, I don't tend to tell a customer they need something done if they don't need it done. Why cause a bad reputation? And it's if it's a safety thing, I'm sure they would appreciate the fact that you didn't let them drive a car that was dangerous, or at least you made them aware of the problem. But yes, of course, the mechanics got a bad rap next to real estate agents and car salesmen. Almost there with this one. Of course, the top one's fighting me, which it would do, of course. Why is it fighting me? Because I'm filming it. You mama 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 mother. Now, you can fast forward through this bit if you like, but then you might miss out on one of my terrible jokes. And I'm saving one joke. Oh, okay, there you go. Put everything in the tray. Keeps it nice and neat. All right, grabbing one's trusty piece of rope. Look, the pad stays on that inner side. Whoever did this didn't grease them. Tisk tisk. Should always grease metal to metal on these pads. Alright, just loop that round there. Give it a pull. There you see, up there, out of the way. Nice and easy. Yeah, it takes a little longer, but more convenient from my point of view. As I say, each to their own. You don't have to do what I do. I just throw it out there and you take it with a pound of salt. Alright, so that is that done. This nut is undone, that's good. Next will be what will be next? I'm not sure whether I want to take that rotor and that off. Yeah, I am. I'm going to take the rotor off and the caliper bracket. I could probably get away with not doing it, but it just makes things lighter here for me to work on. So that's the next thing, is to get this off. So it'll be a matter of undoing these two bolts here. And let me go and grab the relevant wrench. Right, time to get those nuts off. It is a 18mm, and as Gordon Ramsay always says, let the tool do the work. So this has got the correct angle for me, and I have my big rubber hammer. This makes life a lot easier. Instead of straining, it shocks it off nice and easy. And I haven't pre-loosened these. And the tool is doing the work. That big ass rubber hammer did all the work for me. I didn't have to strain. I'm not puffing and panting like crazy, which it can be sometimes when you're undoing these things. Now, yeah, I'm just doing this by feel. It's easier, you know. Why struggle? All right. do the top one. And again, this is another thing where you should crack them both rather than trying to take one completely out, because otherwise this thing will want to swing up and it becomes a real pain in the rectumus. Now, of course, if I was being really clever, what I would have done as well is got my 18mm ratchet wrench, so that I can do this quicker. But that means walking all the way over to my toolbox. Gosh, it's such a long way. I mean, it must be all of 12 feet. Of course, now the damn thing's gone stiff on me. Cool, I wish I had that problem. My wife wishes I had that problem too. Okay. Oh, unusual. Ah, yes, they do. So I'd always put Loctite on these when you put them back in. Use the blue, don't use the red. The red is very hard to undo. The blue is a medium strength Loctite, and is the best one to use on this type of unit, because you know you're going to be removing it during the car's life, even if you're not. Somebody is, so be kind. There we go. That's that baby off. And off with the rotor. There you go. Alright. Oh, could take this plate off as well. In fact, I tell you what, guys, I am going to take that plate off. It gets it, one, it gets it out of the way, two, it stops me bending it, which does happen sometimes. And when that happens and you don't realise it and you put everything back together, then you drive down the road and you get and you think, what the hell have I done? And bending this plate is usually what you've done. Alright, so that's probably a 10mm. They usually are on these kind of things. Look at that. Oh, where's my gun gone? Someone stole me gun. Huh. Ah, it's over there. Come for a walk with me, guys. And these kind of tools are really handy. It just makes life a little easier. Right, plate off. Bolts in tray. See, now I can see everything and I can get to this nice and easy. Ooh, we must also take this off. Otherwise what you'll find happens is you snap the damn thing. And what is that in there? Oh, of course it's a Torx. Alright, let's get some tools. And we'll start undoing this. And we'll undo this. And we'll undo that one there. And then what I will do is I will give this, I might give it a little tap now, see. Not expecting it to move easily, but I mean, we'll see. Alright, let's get some more tools. Alright, let's go around the various nuts and bolts here, so that you know what size tool you're going to need. For the ABS sensor here, we have, what do we have? We have a 25 Torx bit. Down here on this, that is a T55. Up here on this bolt we have a 15mm, and over here on this one we also have a 15mm, and this nut down here we have a 18mm. So those are the various sizes you need. I believe this one up here is also a 15mm. Alright, so 15 is the winner today, but the others are also essential. This one you shouldn't need to take out because everything's all together, but if you do, I believe it's a 10mm. Well, actually, looking at that, maybe it's not, maybe it's an 8. Give me 1 second. Yeah, that's an 8mm there, so should you need to undo that one, 8mm. Alright, let's start getting these undone, see how we go. Quite often these things will fight. And should this one start to spin, which it shouldn't when you're undoing it, it probably will when you're doing it up, there is inside, let me show you a second, there is an Allen slot. So all you need to do is you'll have to use a wrench on this particular nut and then the Allen in there. That's just when you're doing it up. It doesn't usually happen when you're undoing it. Alright, next will be this ABS sensor. Let's get that one done. Don't like the feel of that. And it's something I didn't do. Leave that to soak. The last thing I want is that to shear off. Alright, let's try and do this nut here. This is where this will probably turn. Oh, it didn't. Good. I'm undoing this, although I may not need to remove it. We will see. And everything goes in the tray, at least then you know where it is. Because if you're like me, you forget shit. Let's try this one up here. Oh, I just lost the socket. Ah, you see now that one is spinning. So I'm going to have to get an Allen wrench on that. And a 15mm spanner. You penis the bum. Alright, let me go and get that. I like to get things done. Alright, as I said, that was spinning. 15mm, but you need a number 5 Allen key. Come on, get in the hole. There we go. Not against the wire, thank you. There you go. Again, whilst this may not be necessary, I'd like to have things out of the way. Less restrictions, easier to get it undone now than it is to try and do it when it's all flopping around and swinging about. Okay, again, in the tray. Just swing that out of the way. Alright, we are progressing. Oh, didn't realise that was on there as well. Should have paid attention to that. Do note that bracket goes onto the link. Right, let's continue now with this ABS sensor here. You stay there, will you? Don't worry. Right. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to do this up first. What that does is the PB blaster that's there gets pushed down the threads. Okay. Now let's try again, shall we? And sometimes when you're using these power tools, such as this beastie here, you can't get the feel. So had I used a power tool on this, I wouldn't have been able to feel that it was getting tight, and it probably would have sheared. And then I really would have been up shit creek without a paddle. There she goes. Just give them a little twist as it comes out. I have just seen something. Stupid ass. I can probably just unplug it, can't I? It doesn't want to unplug easy. Let me see. Sometimes these need a bit of persuasion. Oh, there we go. Alright, so you can ignore what I was saying earlier. You don't need to take that out. Just unplug the damn thing. That's unusual, I must admit. I've never seen one that plugs right there, but that's ever so handy. Means I don't have to take that out. And where is the... Yes, okay. Alright, so we'll just put this back in now. And not worry about taking it out. Now if we have a problem, we'll know why. Sorry, you're probably not getting a very good light view, but I need to make sure I hold this in there. So just pinch it up. Alright, so that's that, and that. Next thing is to undo this one here. I believe that was the 15mm. It certainly was. Let's see how easy, how hard this is going to be. Whew. That is tough. Oh boy, is that tough. I think I'm going to need a longer... Don't really want to use an impact on that. Let me try my longer wrench first. Let's see. So I can get some good leverage. This is where you can never have too many tools. Oopsie. Sure doesn't want to come out. That's not coming out easy. Wow. There's nothing there, is there? Oh. I guess it's just gonna fight me all the way. And it's all rusty. I don't know where this car has lived in its past. In sunny Arizona at the moment. There we go. Yep. Yeah, pretty rusty. I'll put some grease on that before I put it back in. Alright, now I've got to get this undone. Let me see. I'm going to try what's called the double hammer method. So instead of hitting on this, you hit on this and you use the other hammer as a shock. So let's go grab a couple of hammers and we'll give that a go. It should be noted that this method doesn't always work. But let's see. You can't really see, can you? It doesn't always work, which is really annoying. And today it doesn't want to work. Ah, rats. Okay, let's try another method that I don't like doing. Get the right nut. This doesn't want to work either. Now I'm going to try this. I'm not going to do it too much because I don't want to damage this. It's got to go back in. And if that doesn't work, then I have another special tool that I can use. But let's just try this first and see. Now, notice I've got that level. And it worked. Okay, that's good. Now let's see if this nut will undo. No, that's what I expected. And that's where we put the good old Allen wrench in there again. Oops. Do it the other way. That is one of the reasons you put the nut on, so that it clears the thread when you take it off, like I'm about to do. Okay. So that method is not a method I recommend, and you really can't go welting at it. Now if you were replacing the tie rod ends, of course that's not a problem, then you can beat the crap out of it. I'm not. I'm going to be reusing this tie rod ends. Alright. What is next? So we've got that bolt loosened. We're not taking it out. We've got that one out. I got a feeling that will probably not shift easily. Let me see. Let me just try persuading it. As suspected, doesn't want to play. So we may well have to take this bottom ball joint out. Will that tap out easily? Yeah, that's no surprise. Although the surprise is it doesn't want to come out that last little bit. Is that a surprise? No, it's not. Of course it's not. It's going to fight you all the way, this car. Okay, now, here's my little bit, there it is. Right, bolt in there. Now, I very much doubt that will just tap out, but we'll give it a shot. Now, so what I'm going to have to do is get a chisel in here and splay this so that this comes out easily, because being aluminum, I can't really bang on it. Alright, let me get that chisel. Alright, I have just spent a long time struggling getting this bottom ball joint out, and the reason I need it out is in order to lower this assembly so that I can get the shaft out. I couldn't get the ball joint out without undoing the control arm, and Mr. Ford, in his fucking infinite wisdom, decided to put the nuts, as opposed to being captive nuts, it's a nut and a bolt, and he also goes through the sway bar mount. Not only that, but this side here, you can't get the bolt out. That pipe is in the way, so I lowered that pipe thinking, great, I'll get it out. But as you can see, it then hits the shield. Without taking the compressor out, there is no way. Fortunately, I managed to get enough of a twist on it. Getting it back in is going to be another fucking story. So now, hopefully, I'll just be able to tap this off and then pull this assembly away, leaving the CV axle where it is. Hopefully, he says. Yeah, that ain't gonna be easy. Hang on a second, guys. Let's put this beast on my head. I don't like hitting this. If I do it with that end. Okay, that is moving. Alright, so my next task is to get this off of here. Let me give that some good old PB. Let it soak while I go and have a sandwich. Alright, next thing you'll see is me taking this off, hopefully. Finally, it's all back together. Didn't show you me putting in the seal, which I did mean to do, but unfortunately got carried away and got it done. So sorry about that, but it's just a matter of pulling out the old seal and tapping in the new one. The new one did actually come with a special plastic sleeve that you put over the shaft so that it doesn't damage the seal when you put it in. That was a forward part. Good idea, really, because those seals can get easily damaged. Now everything is back on nut wise, but nothing is tightened up yet. I like to make sure I can get everything on before I actually tighten it up. So the nut here has not yet been tightened, and that will have a torque spec, and the same with this and this one. And just in case I didn't mention it before, the nuts in there, whilst they're bloody awkward to get to, they're actually a 21mm nut. The bolt head underneath, which is there, they are an 18, and also so is that one there, an 18. What I did have to do in order to get this shaft out was get this bottom ball joint off first. That is most important. I tried to get this top off first and it just doesn't work. There's too much strain on this bottom part, and you do need to loosen the bolts so that you can move it. In fact, these two bolts back here on this side, I took them out and then pulled this forward, and that gave me enough maneuverability on the ball joint here. Okay, now I've got to redo all of these, and I will be putting Loctite on them just to make sure everything's nice and secure. So that's the plan now. Go round everything, put all the bolts back in, get the caliper back on, and that will really be it. I'm sorry there wasn't too much detail in this seal replacement, but hopefully some of this will help when you're doing the seal, or of course if you're actually replacing the shaft. It's the same procedure, it's just that you don't put the old shaft back in. One thing let me do show you, which is over here. That's that plastic piece I was telling you about that goes over the shaft and into the seal. So it holds the seal open, and then you push the shaft in through the hole here, and this plastic prevents the seal from being damaged. So part number 4, that seal, and this is the passenger side, as you can see, is BRS-172. This is a motorcraft part, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I'm not keen on buying dealer parts, but sometimes it's the best thing to do, and in this case I would say definitely the best thing to do. Alright boys and girls, so hopefully you did enjoy the video. I know it's not particularly detailed, but hopefully it will be of some help, and if there's anything else you needed to know about this particular job, please feel free to comment. And like and subscribe, as they say, but do leave me comments if you need to know something else that I can possibly help you with this particular job. Okay, and it's a good night all.